Center for the Visually Impaired, c'est une facilité qui a toute qualité vision réable spécialiste qui peut résoudre problème vision. Arrêtez de jusqu'à ce que vous veniez perdre vision pour bénéficier de services non. Pas assumer que celle ça qui peut résoudre problème vision, c'est opération ou du moins glasses. Si je ne dis rien, activité ou te qu'on fait avec facilité ou pas capable encore, quel que soit notre travail ou quel que soit la caillou, si que notre travail ou gain activité ou te qu'on fait non 20 minutes qu'on a besoin 40 minutes pour faire ou du moins si tu as des petits monde qui l'école qui te qu'on fait travailler bien qui nous fait tout bagaille bien pas le temps c'est là que l'école évolue le tourner pour la loi docteur Zueli viens pour une consultation dans Prince Center for the Visually Impaired nous localisés dans 550 West Merrick Road Valley Stream New York 11580 et téléphone nous c'est 500.
Hello, it's Jerlene Aristide, and again with Vision in the Classroom. Now, we're going to talk about social skills and how social skills are correlated with visually impaired students or students who are blind or progressively losing their sight. So, I know making new friends and adapting to new situations for a child who is early childhood, maybe around 4, 5, or 6. That's very early. It's difficult in general for children sometimes to assess, their social cues. It's even more difficult for a student who is visually impaired or who is blind. Unfortunately, there's a different world to that, a different strain that's put on the child to be able to interact with their students just like everybody else. Because every child wants to have friends, every child wants to be happy and be able to communicate with their friends. So as those who are not visually impaired, you're able to pick up on visual cues and social cues. You can tell when someone is having direct eye contact with you. You can tell if someone is speaking to you because they are having direct eye contact with you. You're able to see the facial expressions of the person that you're talking to or the people around you. And that's something that a lot of people who communicate with others rely on. But those who are visually impaired and children who are progressively losing their sight, they communicate in a different way. It's not that they don't communicate, they just communicate in a different manner. Those who were unfortunately born with blindness, however, they adapt, they have an internalism where they can sense someone's presence. Now, this is something that all of their other senses are heightened due to this loss of sight. But that might be a little bit more difficult for a student who is progressively losing their sight. This is not something they're used to. They go from being able to see one day and progressively their vision is getting worse and worse, and they have to constantly adapt to that. And unfortunately, in some cases that I have read upon, they do end up losing their sight. So for these students, it's hard to adapt to an ever-changing situation, and they have to be able to pick up those social cues and social skills and learn a different way of being able to communicate. Nonverbal communication has to be taught. It's not something that they have an internalism with versus students who were born blind. So students who have a visual impairment or who are losing their sight, they have to be able to relay the messages that they want to send using nonverbal communication. And now, how do we do that? You get these students into programs and into skill sets and into areas where they can blossom and they can be taught how to communicate without relying on sight, and how to pick up social cues without relying on sight as well. So it's really a luxury when you think about it for some of us who are blessed enough to have our eyesight intact, is that direct eye contact, as I have said before. So unfortunately for students, those who are on the playground and are visually impaired or blind, they're often isolated from other students who don't have disabilities. And that goes for all disabilities as well. It is very unfortunate, but at the same time, we need to be able to teach these students how to be more social regardless of their impairment, regardless of their loss of sight, regardless of their ever changing health condition. This is super important because it will allow them to be more confident to go up to another student and be able to communicate with them. Because children are children, unfortunately. They might not really understand what's going on. They might not really know how to communicate with the child if the child is visually impaired. So you can send your child to a facility and a specialist that can equip them with the tools to be able to communicate with the student who is not visually impaired. And this is very important. It's important for these students to learn the appropriate social skills so that they can go out in the world and be productive members of society regardless of their visual impairment. So if they don't let their visual impairment restrict them, the world won't let that happen, okay? So they have to be confident, and confidence only comes through a repetition as well. Them getting used to being able to communicate in different ways and picking up different types of gestures without relying on their eyesight. So, unfortunately, if there is a student out there, or if you know of a student out there who is losing their sight and is a little uneasy about it, and unfortunately, it's a crucial thing, especially if it's happening at an early age. At any point, if it ever happens, vision loss is it can be detrimental to your overall health and mental health as well. So it's important to see a specialist and see a therapist also, so you can learn how to cope with your condition, and as a student, learn how to use that to your advantage in your academics. Social skills can be taught, as I said before, with students who are with visual impairments, if they have the opportunity. Again, the students have to be presented with these opportunities to see a specialist. A lot of students don't have that opportunity, and it's important to bring awareness to this, to let people know that this is a real issue, that students are being left by the wayside when it comes to social skills, and they're socially awkward just because of their visual impairment or their loss of sight and their condition. It's very unfortunate, but this lack of social skill can cause confusion to the student. It can allow them to feel very uneasy about talking to other students and talking to other people in general, and no one wants to feel that way. So it's important to make the student comfortable, and the only way in doing so is getting them into those specialist offices and helping them to adapt to their new normal and helping them to understand social cues. And we're fortunate enough to have a low vision specialist, Dr. Prince, who also deals with students who have lost their sight or who have who are in the stage of progressively losing their sight. And he's going to just give us one brief example of a student who he's encountered with that he's able to help their social skills as well, as they were going through the process of adapting to their new normal with vision loss.
Well, thank you again, Jolie, for having me.
Mm-hmm.
When you talk, I know you give a lot of information about the social skill, which is a very important topic. We can take the whole afternoon to talk about the social skill. Now, a lot of people that watching, a lot of parents that watching the show tonight, they may ask a lot of questions, but we know social skill are learned at home first.
Yes.
And if there is one, before I answer your question, if there is one advice I would say to anyone that's watching the show, If you have a kid that born completely blind
Mm-hmm.
at home, the first thing, the earlier you take charge of the
Yes.
condition, the better it will be for you.
Mm-hmm.
That means early intervention is the key, because there is specialists. When I say specialists, occupational therapists that specialize, that can deal with this type of condition. There is what some other specialists, if the vision is because the vision is affected, what they call the TVI, teacher of visual impairment. That's very important, that can help with this condition. And also, beside the early intervention program, and the parent for a kids that's completely blind, you
Mm-hmm.
know they need to have some form of repertoire, some form of vocabulary. There
Yes.
is, because the kids, since the kids was inside the belly of the mother, they have the way they will communicate already,
Yeah.
because the mother didn't know the kids will born blind,
Yeah.
stuff like that. And they have to be able to they know, they understand the way the kids communicate.
Yeah.
And it's up to them to use, whatever form of vocabulary they use with the
Mm-hmm.
kids when the kids is born, and when they go outside, to share this information with some people that doesn't know,
Mm-hmm.
that can help them. And as for the kids that lost the vision, and I'm talking about kids that partially sighted, that doesn't have that doesn't lose the vision completely. Or kids that have limited vision. These kids, and we need to know this type of services that are available.
Right.
In all situations, early intervention is the key, and this early intervention is not only for people that cannot speak, because most likely we saw most of parents think, the kids at the
Mm-hmm.
early interventions is they have a child after 2 years old or 3 years old that cannot speak. That's where they look for an
Mm-hmm.
intervention for them. But the vision is important too,
Mm-hmm.
because you need to watch your kids as the kid is born,
Yes.
and see if the kids follow you or looking at the
Yes.
light. If there is something weird you don't understand, you know check with your
Yeah.
pediatrician
Mm-hmm.
and ask questions. If they make sure they check the eyesight,
Mm-hmm.
the earlier you take, the better it will be for the parent. Now, as for my experience with kids, I receive some of the kids. I will even get kids like that, over 6 months old,
Oh wow.
that
Yeah.
have some form of vision issue, stuff like that. But fortunately, those kids, the vision issue they have, those are temporary matter. The parent just get scared.
Yeah.
They just coming in. But this is transformation, because there is a lot of stuff that
Mm-hmm.
happen during the course of the as the kids is growing up. That's the most of the stuff I receive. But
Okay.
some those the kids I receive that doesn't have a no vision or partially sight, these kids are like 10 years old, or
Okay.
that's
Mm-hmm.
teenage kids.
Yeah.
But my experience with them, these are smart kids. When I say
Yes.
smart kids, these are kids. I remember when I was doing my field work and internship at Vision, is one of the state agency in the city. They have a program in all the way upstate New York. In I remember that's VCB, stuff like that. They have a lot of kids with visual impairment,
Mm-hmm.
and they have a lot of activity for them, and try to make them use their vision, and try to and
Yes.
give them, and all this type of activity is like social skill activity.
Yes.
But all this to say, the social skill has to learn at home and in the school also,
Mm-hmm.
because make sure you bring your kids in the school, at least that have some that have a vision rehab specialist. When I say that, teacher of vision impairment or vision rehabilitation therapist, this type of profession, we don't hear them a lot,
Mm-hmm.
but
That's true.
this type of profession is the key,
Yes.
for that can understand. Because if you bring your kids, you put it to a place, and that doesn't they don't have no knowledge of the kids condition, the professor doesn't have no idea, they're
Mm-hmm.
going to give the kids the same assignment like some other kids. And did you know, a lot of you that watching here, if your kids have some form of vision impairment, you know, there is, based on the severity of the condition, if your eye care professional can give information, there is some adaptation the kids can have. sometimes the kids may have, if the kids a have lost their distance vision,
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that, they may need to be able to sit in the front. They may need
Yes.
to sit down in a specific area in the classroom. That's where it's very important. Not only because, as you're talking about social skill, me, I'm focused on the vision because this month is a eye health and, and health, vision, safety for kids. I believe that's what it is. But
Yeah.
this is a month, because that's the beginning. A lot of kids is going back to school now, and all these things to say, the same way we focus on our health,
Mm-hmm.
make sure we're in good health. The eye is not different also,
Exactly.
because
Yes.
if the kids cannot be success, will not have any success in school if the eyesight is not good.
Yeah.
And the social aspect is very important. That help with the emancipation and of the that can help the growth of the brain of the kids also. But I don't think
Mm-hmm.
there is a lot of improvement compared to back, a couple of years ago, where kids with visual impairment usually before used to go to a different school. Now most of the school accommodate kids with vision loss,
Mm-hmm.
and the kids with vision loss sit down in the same class with kids that have the same vision, they have the
Mm-hmm.
same exam, they almost do, because there is a big improvement. They're big because with the technology also, it just like we just have to those parents has to get the information, where they can get it. Now a lot of people will say, I don't have money for this, but there is services available for these kids,
Yes. Yeah.
because there is people that's looking, for, because I'm talking most like in the New York State, because there is a commission for the blind, there is the office for children, stuff like that. They have a lot of services. If the kid has a specific goal to achieve, they can help the parent. It's just
Awesome.
like they need to be alert,
Yes.
focus,
Yeah.
and know where there's the services is located, and they can get help, because sometimes, I heard people say too, all those free services are not good. What I want to get for my kids, they are not going to get it. But at least you need to get the information you need, stuff
Yeah.
like that. Now, if you have the economic power, yes, of course, we're in a capitalist country, you will get better services, stuff like that. I don't want to say the services they provide are not good,
Yeah.
but but this is a fact, because and
Yes.
I saw some of the equipment they provide some people for free, but the equipment sometimes that would be good for the kids,
Yeah.
it's not what they provide.
Yeah.
But at least,
It's something.
you
Yeah.
need to get a provider, or a vision specialist, an eye care specialist, that can tell you what's good for the kids.
Yeah.
And I'm not finished with, I would say, even it's about social.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Every parent that's watching now, I know you prepare to buy bag, clothes for the kids to go to school.
Yes.
Remember to get their eye check.
Yes.
Remember, and stop taking I see to the eye care provider. Just give me what my insurance cover. If your insurance cover the best, you go for it. But make sure whatever your insurance cover blue light protection for the glass of your kids, make sure they put blue light protection on the glasses, because they're going to use a computer, they use iPad, they use all this. You need that type of protection.
Yes.
We don't want none of your kids in 2030 or in the day coming have any form of issue related to this type of
Yeah,
condition.
that's true.
It's the time to do this thing
Mm-hmm.
now. And I don't know if you have
Mm-hmm.
any other question for me, because I know
Mm-hmm.
you're talking a lot
That
of,
was great. Yeah, that was great insight. And I really appreciate it, especially the social skills aspect, because it's so important for students to be able to feel comfortable that they can have some sort of communication, especially for the children who are transitioning from that state of being able to see one day and then losing their sight another. Not all the time is it genetic, where the child is born with, blindness. So thank you so much for giving that insight. I appreciate it. And we're going to go ahead and continue on with the rest of the segment. I just have one key concept to say, actually, is that improvements, like Dr. Prince has said, are at home also. So that's a great aspect. A key point in all of this is that, making your child comfortable in themselves, and whether they have an impairment or not, and especially if they do have a visual impairment, making them conversation with them comfortable. So what you want to do is actually say their name clearly, and just initiate and allow them to initiate conversation also, so that they can feel empowered in the conversation and in nonverbal communication. Also, you want to speak clearly, okay? You don't want to mumble or anything, because unfortunately the child may not be able to read your lips, or premeditate what you're about to say. And offer clear descriptions of things, okay? You want to allow a more descriptive setting for the child, so that they can understand and kind of visualize in their mind, rather than with their sight, what you're saying, so that they can have a clear idea of the object, or maybe the scenario that you're talking about. Like I said, letting your child initiate conversation. Give verbal warnings instead of visual warnings, like pointing or anything that the child may miss if they're visually impaired or cannot see because they are blind. So you want to give verbal warnings, like if they're on the playground, oh, watch for the bar. Or if they have a visual impairment, maybe they might see that the monkey bar or the swing is a lot farther than what they think it is. So you want to do all of those things in conjunction with the things that I have said before, as well as what Dr. Prince has mentioned, is that getting your child into that specialist, allowing them to work with your child to adapt to their scenario, and allowing them to develop their social cues and being social butterflies, because I know children love to communicate with each other, and just allowing them to be able to develop their own style of communication, because it is case by case, finding out what works best for your child, and continue to work with your child and try to figure out the best situation for them, and the best specialist, the best rehabilitation, and the best care. Because at the end of the day, all you want for your child is the best, okay? And with that, I want to thank again Dr. Prince for saying a little bit of knowledge for us. And again, if you have any questions or any comments, please don't feel free to go ahead, attach them below, and comment, like, share, repost, anything you would like to do. It's up to you. And thank you again for watching today, and I can't wait to see your beautiful faces in the next segment. Thank you. Have a great day.
Center for the Visually Impaired is a state-of-the-art facility with low vision specialists for all your vision needs. Our low vision rehabilitation specialist will accurately measure your visual capabilities and help you use it more efficiently. Please call us today for a low vision evaluation at area code 516-200-3850, or stop by our local office located at 550 West Merrick Road, Suite 3, Valley Stream, New York, 11580. Do not assume your options are limited to surgery or glasses, and do not wait until you are legally blind to benefit from our services.
Vision loss can greatly affect one's quality of life. However, there are low vision devices and technology that can help patients maintain a functional quality of life. Prince Center for the Visually Impaired specializes in helping patients find the right technology for their specific needs. For more information, call us at 516-200-3850.